No, man, that's an investment. It's not. They're not just toys. It's an investment. It's my
They're half
children's
her,
inheritance.
they're half hers.
They're
Right,
half,
Kev?
yes, according to Kevin. And that's why. So when I pre-order stuff by accident, it's not by accident. It's on purpose
I'm helping you, man.
for you. Yeah, the guy's married for one day, and he's got all the angles.
I've got it
Right.
figured out.
He's got
I
it
got it
all
figured
figured
got it.
out.
Hello there. I'm Kevin, aka Toying Around.
I'm Yoko, also known as Live and Levita Yoko.
Hey, I'm Paulie from Bitter Asian Dude Inc.
I'm Ernie, also known as the one and only Fallen Fett.
We're four friends chatting about our love for Star Wars, toy collecting, and pop culture. You're listening to the Boba Squadron podcast.
Let me see the ring. Show me the ring,
I left it upstairs when I was doing dishes.
dude.
I mean, have you tried that
Really?
excuse before? Did it backfire?
What? The taking off the ring to wash
No,
the dishes? Hey, it's
saying-
okay, baby. This just means friendship. Yeah. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, Kevin.
Friendship.
No, the ordering 6 toys and then saying, yeah, but half are for you. I did it for you.
No, because Anna can smell the bullshit a mile away.
All right. Well,
And
you know
there's
what?
No way.
Part of growing up is letting me make my own mistakes.
Really, for her, it's she knows I'm just a complete dumbass.
Ooh.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Boba Squadron podcast. Thanks for tuning in on your favorite listening stream. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure that you catch up on the old episodes if you haven't already, if you're new to finding us. We are on episode 7. Is that correct?
Episode 7.
Episode 7. So thank you very much for joining us. We got the full crew in here tonight. The full squadron is here, and we got quite a few things to go over today and more homework to talk about.
I love how we're on episode 6, 7. It's always for every
Yeah.
opening. It seems like we're like, oh, we're on episode 4, 7,
Right.
5.
Once
Love
again,
that.
too bad there aren't just show notes there that tell us what episode we're on.
Yeah,
I,
someone should get on that, Yoko.
I didn't want
There
to
you
click
go.
it back.
Too bad.
I had it open. I did.
Are we surprised that we made it that far? Is that why it always seems like
No,
7?
I think we're just surprised that it's like, what number is it? Because we just do them.
Yeah.
I don't even
Well,
know
we've been together for so long, right? So it's like how many, like everything blends into one, because this could just as easily be Book of Boba Tea. It could just as easily be the bad. I mean,
Everything
for the lifers,
continues.
we've all been doing it for a while, and then Ernie's new. So
Oh, yeah, wait.
Trying
Aren't we
to make it.
telling Ernie the bad news today?
Is it? This is my last show.
well, last portion
Thanks.
of the show.
Last
So now,
portion of the show.
yeah, he's done now. We just
That's
waited for
it?
the opening.
Yeah. Just had to do the intro. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks
And
for
we'll
allowing
edit
me to do
we're on
that.
episode 8. 9. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Celebration announced the schedule of panels. Now, I have not looked through it yet, so
I'm not going, so I don't care. Do Star Wars.
And I'm just going there to ask for you all day in every panel.
yeah.
Where's Carson?
Yeah.
They're gonna make that connection so quickly.
Yeah. Oh, I need my cutout of your head.
Oh,
So
yeah.
then I can hold it up too.
yeah.
We're here for Carson Teva. Where's Paulie? I'll get the whole crowd to start chanting, Paulie, Paulie,
Nice.
Paulie. Yeah.
You just got to be in your chonies, though. You got to be in your fet chonies.
I'm not going to start, but by the end of the chant, I will be.
Oh my God.
I'm going to do it the whole, yeah. This way,
Nice.
then they know I mean business.
I'm Carson Teva, and I approve of this message.
Gotta get
We
that
gotta, so we
cutout.
gotta pick which panel we're gonna protest then.
We're gonna
I'm-
raid.
Yeah. I say it's the Mando season 3, when Favreau and Filoni's there. This way I can still
Yeah.
try and get a coin, a picture, and then still protest for Paul at the same time.
Nice. I think I would do that. I would really want, just because it's current. And I'd want to know. This is an opportunity to get on the ground level of something before it's aired, right? Like season 3 and all the other things that are going on in the Mandoverse. That I think that would be a must see for me. Like I see Ian McDermott, and with all due respect, too, it's just like, yeah, cool, the Emperor. What else is there? type thing. Like I'm sure he's
Uh-huh.
got a lot of fantastic stories and he's really, really wonderful. But it's just for me, I think I would if it came down to him and something else that was a little bit more like even like the Obi-Wan panels and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, see ya. I want to see it, this other stuff. Yes.
Do you want
no?
to? Yeah, I mean, what? Yeah, the big one is gonna be Filoni and the Favreau one.
Yeah.
The other ones is just like that. But here's the thing: they're talking about you got to do this. It's gonna be like a lottery system through your phone,
Yeah.
is what I've heard.
Oh,
So, yeah, I guess it's gonna be. I don't know if you're gonna have to like choose from which one you would like.
So, because they
Or
don't
you
want
won
people
this one.
camping out, and they
Yes.
don't, and for safety reasons or whatever, right? I don't know if this is something that they had done before or not, but to keep people from camping out overnight to get into these panels,
Mm-hmm.
they're doing like a lottery system. So then, like you're in, and I think it's just really for the first thing in the morning, and then like people will go in and out, and if people don't come back, maybe like you can. There's probably going to be a line for like seat replacements or whatever. I'm guessing. I really haven't looked too in depth into any of this yet. I should, but
I've never
I think
really-
that's the idea.
I've never
Okay.
really attended a panel at a convention. I know, Paul, you've participated in panels, right?
Yeah. Not
Yeah,
not at this
obviously.
scale. I mean, we
Right.
did one for the biggest one would have been for Kim's, but there were 7 of us from the cast there, and we packed that room. And before that, it was
Right.
me and Andrew Fung at Calgary Fan Expo, and we packed that room. There were like 400 seats. I think the one for Toronto Fan Expo was like maybe 1,000 seats. No, not 1,000, maybe 700. And then, but this one will be like thousands of seats, right? Like it'll be a good 1,200. I figured they'd want a big venue for it, but I've never, just done a panel that big for that size.
I don't know how big these ones are compared to the Comic-Con ones. Yoko, have you been into the?
Oh, I mean,
The ones
not-
at
it's
Anaheim?
it's not a Hall H panel,
Right,
But
right.
I don't know I don't know numbers at all, but there are different stages, so they have like their big one that's gonna hold the most people, and then some are for smaller rooms too.
Studio Showcase actually looks good because those are all the previews, right? Just to kick it off.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
smart. I think it's pretty
Special
smart.
guests discuss the many Star Wars adventures coming soon, including Obi-Wan, Andor, and The Mandalorian.
Okay, what's the next one?
Damn it. The next one for me would be the Star Wars collectibles update with Lucasfilm's Brian Merton, because I'd be like, who's to blame? Who's to blame? Right?
Where am I?
Where am I?
They're gonna have a
Wait,
Hasbro
there's-
one too. They're
Right.
gonna have a Hasbro one, and I think I am pretty much banned from that one. So
Why are you banned from the Hasbro one?
we'll have to see. Because I don't say choice
I'm
words
I'm
about
nervous for them.
Black
Well,
Series.
But
Right?
I
mean-
that's of their own doing. In
Ah,
essence.
no, the people who represent Hasbro in those live streams are not. It is not their doing necessarily.
Well, but they're the sacrificial lambs being led to the slaughter.
And having been that sacrificial lamb, I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you, it's a
Okay.
really shitty position to be in.
Yeah.
So be gentle with the people sharing the news,
No.
you guys.
Pitchforks
That's all
and-
I'm saying.
pitchforks.
I am. I'm never like
Fortunate.
that. Like
The
that.
marketing
I mean,
team is not the one making product decisions.
yeah. I wonder what they're gonna have though, because they're having a presentation on May the 4th. Hasbro is for Black Series, and then, well, Star Wars, not Black Series itself, but Star Wars. And then they're gonna be there at Celebration too, doing one, and I wonder what's gonna happen. And then I would definitely want to get into the Favreau Filoni one.
I'm hearing a lot of really great things about the Lego Star Wars game that dropped. A lot of people finding
Oh.
joy from that. A lot of Instagram posts, reels, stories. A lot of people really just loving the humor in it. It's
Yeah.
brought a sense of levity back to the galaxy far, far away, which is severely lacking, apparently, just with all the hatred that's been going on. So that's nice. So the Summer of Lego Star Wars on Friday, May 27th sounds like a lot of fun.
Paul, do you know if you're a playable character? I heard there's like hundreds of.
Well, if
Playable
I
character.
were, honestly, I'd be the last one to know.
No
They
one's
don't-
tagged you yet?
No, not yet.
Oh.
And trust me, I do. I mean, Overwatch 2, they had a beta map of Toronto, and they've done this before, but they have Kim's Convenience there. They've renamed it K's Convenience, but they've done the store and it's on the map. So
Oh, that's cool.
And then I
didn't know
get sent that, like hundreds of people send it to me, like hundreds. So
I saw the store's for sale.
yeah, it's been on sale for
Oh, has it?
for like half a year at least.
Oh,
I
someone
think they're
just sent
talking
me
about
the link
last year.
this week.
Yeah, no,
You
it's
know, like-
and I always get people like, you should buy it. I'm like, why? Why would I want to buy it? What am I gonna
Okay.
do?
Okay, allow me to make a point. I was gonna say you should buy it for the reasons of storehouse,
I
warehouse,
was gonna say the same thing. Stash
Toronto
house.
warehouse.
Hey, no offense.
Hid
Do you know
it
what
in plain
neighborhood it's
sight.
in? It's a pretty rough neighborhood. That's like it's not just a storehouse. That's a Target house. Then
It's
That
Queen.
is- it's like Queen and Seton, like around there.
Yeah,
It's in Moss Park, and it's a it's a neighborhood that's a bit rough around the edges. Like when we would shoot on location there, season 1, nobody knew who we were, so they pretty much left us alone. Season 2, the show was a little bit more popular. People were like, oh, I kind of know the show. This is like Kim's Corner Store. Season 3, it's like, yo, you're the motherfucker on that motherfucker, right? I'm like, yep. And like crowds would gather, and but we would do scenes, and like somebody completely burned out would stagger through the scene, and it's just like, oh, okay. That they just like, and between the actors too, not like walking around us, they would go right in between us.
Just right through.
Yeah, and so Andrea and I would be like, was that a background performer or what's going on? It's like they were a zombie, right? Like it was this woman who was like in a tube top and was like doing that walk of shame because it was early in the morning and just sort of stumbling and staggering through, one shoe off, one shoe on, and just kind of like Harold,
Shoe in
and
her
she was
hand.
out of it. And it was just like, what the hell was that? Right. Another time we were shooting on location, another woman came out of the store, was like really mad and popped open a huge bag of chips and made a huge mess. So like Seth had to clean it up. And then she walked over and kicked one of the camera guys' cars. Right. It was just like, okay.
Wow.
It's yeah. And then one of the ADs, she brought her parents who are from, oh my God, they're from the country, like really serene, nice. And they saw the store and they're coming out. And as they came out, they saw this guy peeing on their car.
Oh no!
So it's that kind of neighborhood.
Welcome
is what
to
I'm
Toronto.
saying. Yeah,
So you've got fond memories, is what
I
you're
do.
saying.
I do.
Yeah.
It's a neighborhood that's in development. But yeah, no, my stuff. There's reasons why there are bars on that, on the storefront. Right.
Those were
It's
real.
Right.
Yeah.
Not props.
Not
Yeah.
props, for real. No, and it's also like $4 million.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't have $4 million. I have Hot Toys. That's it. This is it. Do you want to buy a building or do you want to buy Hot Toys? Hot Toys.
Yeah, because if you sold the Hot Toys to buy the building, you'd have no use for the building anymore.
There you go.
Right.
Just a
Hot
big
Toys are
empty
gone.
building where people would pee on my car and beat me up.
Not even stealth pee.
Not even stealthy, like full
No.
out
Yeah.
daytime. I'm peeing on your car. Like this is mine. Like ownership pee.
Yeah.
It's just
Ownership
oh,
pee.
like, this is
Territorial marking.
mine. Yeah,
Territory.
marking the territory.
Very noticeable.
Why do we have so many types of pee
I
on
know.
this
Last
podcast?
week, stealth pee. This week, ownership pee.
Ownership
Mm.
pee, yes.
That's funny
Territorial
though
pee.
that they're like, is this a background? These background characters are getting really, really like on the nose.
Method acting.
That's
Yeah.
what we thought.
They're so
funny.
good.
Yeah, it's like, oh wow.
Committed.
what?
Really committed.
Toronto fans be like, hey, I've seen that lady. I can't believe they made it on the show. The show is so real.
We scrubbed that cut. That particular take. Started again.
Is it safe to assume then that confirms you're looking for a second place to store all your stuff? Confirmed.
Confirmed.
Sorry.
No,
Anna.
I'm selling all my Black Series. I am.
Uh-huh.
I'm taking Yoko's advice. That's money that's already spent. I'm not worried about getting it back. No, seriously.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just going to take it to save a few items. I'm going to take it all back to the collectible store and let them deal with it because I don't have time. I don't have time. And you're right, Yoko. That money's already spent. So everything
Not
else
a
is profit.
financial advisor.
No, but it makes sense just from a collector's
Yeah.
point of view. It's
Yeah.
just, and I need to get. I mean, I have boxes stuff, and I
Yeah.
gotta get rid of it.
It'll
make
feel
room.
good to get rid of it at once and then
Mhm.
not have to
Yeah.
worry about it anymore.
And I think that's the case right there. So
Yeah.
very
I like
happy
that.
about that.
It's like a nice follow-up to a last week topic.
Yeah. I've made up my mind. I'm not going
Wow.
to keep the baby.
What a quitter.
Huh?
All
Huh?
right.
You got to get that reference. Ernie. Papa
What?
don't preach. I made up my
Madonna?
mind. Yeah.
And I made my mind. I'm keeping
She's
my
keeping it,
baby.
but I'm not. So that's the joke.
Oh.
I didn't get that that's where you were going with that. I just thought it was a dark.
Oh,
Whoa.
Yoko.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very dark.
Very dark.
Oh.
Man.
Happy wedding day, Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh my god, don't back that topic up with
No, I'm
My
trying to
nup-
bring levity to the
my
situation now.
nuptials.
Right. Going into the
Fair.
next topic, Madonna
So,
like a virgin.
so the panels. Back to the panels.
How did we
The
get
panels.
there from Lego? My goodness. Lego.
Here we go.
It was you. You asked about him
Yeah.
being in the game.
Usually when
There's
you
a-
always ask that question, it is you.
Yeah.
How did we end
That's-
up here?
Yeah.
It's always you. Yeah.
There we go.
I'm the one with the most disbelief.
Yeah. Why'd it go off the rails?
How-
Something you said.
How could it have happened?
Yeah.
With
I know if
something like
Kevin was here, he'd probably be checking out the science folder on Sunday of Wonderful
Right.
World of Wookiees.
click, 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 click.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Where's
I thought
the-
that site was shut down. I guess
Where's the
not.
Chesty Jawas panel?
That's right after Wonderful World of Wookiees. That's on
That's an
Sunday.
evening. That's an evening panel.
It is.
Yeah. The evening panel is Wookie Nookie, where in
That's a-
space everyone can hear you cream. I'm never gonna let that one go. Attack of the Clones 20th anniversary celebration. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
20 years for, in my opinion, it was the weakest of the trilogy, the prequel trilogy.
That's what, right, Yoko? Isn't that what the celebration's based on? Like the merch and everything is the clones?
Some of it, yeah. It seems like half of it is Clone's 20th anniversary, and half of it is like
Right.
is new stuff.
Because right
Yeah.
after
Plus-
that is the
yeah.
merchandise sneak and peek Disney parks and shop
I
Disney.
love that there's a merchandise sneak peek panel. Like that's hilarious.
Why is it hilarious?
I-
Get
it's
people worked up?
Just yeah, it's like an hour of like here are T-shirts that are coming to the park later this year.
Oh, I thought they were going to be like the collectibles. Like, here we go, Shop Disney. You're going to have a chance to get this limited edition lightsaber.
I don't
Or
know, maybe.
Sometimes, right? Sometimes, but I think it's like all over the place. Well, look at what
Oh.
just happened with you, Yoko.
Hmm.
We
What
all
happened?
sat at the edge of our seat while Yoko waited in a 10-minute line to purchase something that we didn't know about. Like,
Oh yeah,
what
you know
was
what?
it?
Oh yeah, so I was just on when I was streaming the other night, Tuesday night, 7:30 on Twitch. I was talking about merch on Shop Disney, and then thank you, and then suddenly we got kicked into a waiting room, like a queue for Shop Disney, and so it was like the queue will open or start letting people in at 8:30, and I was like, what the heck? What is this? And I was like, well, we're here, so let's just wait it out. It was like 10 minutes or something, 15 minutes, maybe, I don't remember. So we just waited, and it was like 4,000 people in line ahead of me at that point suddenly
Wow.
already. I was like, what are we all waiting for? And we never figured it out. I thought it was that doll, Ernie, but it wasn't even that.
Oh, it wasn't?
It wasn't that. That had already been up a couple days.
Oh
I
my
guess.
God. I thought it was the doll too.
I
So
saw
see,
people-
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I saw people talking about it on a Facebook group, and other people were like, what were we all waiting for? And everyone was like, nobody knew.
Yeah,
There's
I
a-
was in
They
this
must
room
have
waiting.
been testing it.
Yeah.
I bet they were testing it for May the 4th or something.
I was going to say, it's probably a beta
Oh.
test.
Yeah,
to
but
check
they
out
like
the system.
didn't tell anybody, and they get thousands of people
Yeah.
waiting in line trying to figure
It
out what they're
was.
trying to
What
buy.
And then the excitement builds up because
Yeah.
like I was in here setting up for my show and Corinne was in the other room making ears in that. And then so she even pops in and is like, what is it? And I'm like, I don't know. And then so now I'm searching too. And I'm like, I can't find
Yeah.
anything. And
And
then the
everybody else in
timer's
the
running
chat-
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Ooh, let's all get in line." Just to
So
see
you know what,
something
Paul?
cool.
We do need that show because then
Yeah.
What are you going to give us? Yeah. I don't know as far as Star Wars merch. I would hope maybe they're going to be talking about more coming to Doc Ondars as far as Saber, because we had the pick one and that's released now. So when are we going to get the other ones? Or like, do we get choose again on which one we want next?
Oh yeah.
And then
vote
there's
again.
also a picture going around for Batu East. They're doing something new with the magic bands, and they have a picture up, and it's a section that they closed off in Batu, and then they show a picture of a new magic band. And it says Magic Band Plus, and then it has a what are they called? The Clatuians, the tentacle ones. Clatunian, right? Isn't it? Well, it looks like that, and nobody knows what this is. So what are they doing? Is it something to do with bounties? Like collect a bounty, do this? So maybe that's when it's going to be announced further, and maybe the reveal of it, of what's going on. But I would really hope that more is coming to Batu. Like I would love that.
Maybe with that game, that's one of the panels too, right? Isn't there like a bounty hunter video game that's coming out?
Oh, is there really? Like on
scroll down a little
platforms?
Bit. Yeah. It's like a fighting game with bounty hunters.
Cool.
The old one was Masters of Terracotta.
I'm probably really simplifying it, but that's why can I find it? I just saw it on here.
And going back to the Lego thing, I just put a link in the comments. Check it out. This is the new one that they're going to be dropping. Star Wars Lego.
Oh, the UCS land speeder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That looks so pretty.
Are you getting that, Paul?
They're beautiful.
Yes.
Do you have Lego? You have some.
do. Yeah. I got tons of Lego.
You do.
I
in a box
stopped.
I
just
do
because
too.
It's just like my kids, we still have it. It's just scattered all over the place. And I used to get like really obsessive with just keeping them all together. Like you can pull them apart, but you got to keep them together because if you want to rebuild it, like, so we have all the instructions. We keep all the instructions always. I got them in a Ziploc bag.
Yep.
And it's like, you can play with them and pull them apart, but keep them all together because some of them are specialized pieces. And if I can't find it, because if you scattered it into the big Lego bin, it's brutal, right? And the color code, like they're all in the right colors and this and that. But, you know, my kids are my kids. So like everything's scattered and it's like, oh. And it used to, like, I had to stop because I was spending, I don't know, that's one of my OCD things is with Lego, it's got to be organized. So you can take it apart, you can build whatever you want, but all those pieces have to stay the same. Same with the minifigs. Because they'd swap hands, which was like, why are you doing that? They're just different colored hands. Or the helmets and stuff. And it was just like, that was brutal. So I just took a step back and I was just like,
I'm with you, man.
Was
it Will Ferrell who's the dad in the Lego movie?
Yeah.
He's the bad guy, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not that far off. I wouldn't super glue my sets because that's insane. But you know, keeping the sets in their own place, like, and I, you know, Paul, it's not very OCD. I think that's so crazy.
And I loved Lego as a kid, and I would do that as a kid. Like I would build everything, but I would keep stuff separate. So my space Lego was separate from the garbage Lego. The regular Lego, because it was like,
was that a slip or was?
Because it was just like they were all like, you know, the space Lego was gray and blue, and it had insignias on it, and it was all specialized, right? And the other stuff was like the garbagey stuff that you know, it was all the common stuff. The great unwashed, that's fine. And I didn't want to mix them up, right? So that's just the way. So I totally oh my God, I had empathy for Will Ferrell's character. Like I totally got him in that. And but not to the point of crazy glue. Although I have been tempted because it's like that Ecto-1, it's like I'm never gonna pull it apart to put in. Right, so why not just put like a thin layer of like model glue in it to just cement the pieces together, so that shit doesn't fall off.
And it does. I know a lot of sets that I had when I moved are now half here, half there inside the box, and I still haven't touched the box for that reason because I don't want to lose a piece.
I have not looked at my Lego I transported yet. Actually, I dropped a box yesterday, and I was like, it was the box my little Cricket came in. And I was like, what is in this box? And I had just dropped it, and I was like, what's in here anyway? Because I thought it was empty because I know where my Cricket is. And I opened it, and it was my Winnie the Pooh Lego, and I was like, oh no, it made it here, and then I dropped it yesterday.
Yeah, I
It
had
didn't look
stuff
too
like
bad.
half apart and everything, and I tried immediately and I couldn't. I was like, okay, I need to sit down and have time with this box, and I still haven't gotten to that yet. So I feel you, and I think it's the opposite with Legos. Like when you go to that kid's house who said, let's play with Legos, and they just pull out that bucket bin and they're all mixed up. Whoa. Like then I'm not coming over to your house no more. You're a crazy kid. Like, why would you do that?
Chaos.
Like, yes, like you said, in baggies with the instructions. Okay, so what do you want to build? Or like that. No. Pulls out like just a tub and all the pieces. What? You don't do that.
I called it the free play Lego. It was just like it was all the scraps or whatever, and it's like free play. You just build whatever crazy ass thing you wanted, right?
Yeah.
But certain sets, like the space Lego, that shit did not touch the other stuff. It's like this is pure. You're clean. You do not cross contaminate these Legos, right? So, like I had both. I had that big crazy tub of Lego that was just the sound as you're like rummaging through to find the piece. I love that sound. Like that's total ASMR for me. It's just like,
And when you know that it's at the bottom too, should be in the right corner. Right. There.
Yes.
I can get that. But no, this was this kid's whole Legos. All Legos were this in there. Yeah, you always have that bin of like that. And that's what I'm saying too, as crazy as it's in the corner of it. I know it was.
Yeah.
And you start digging through and you find it.
I feel bad because if I see as an adult now, if I go to like a friend's house and their kid has that free play Lego bin, I'm like, ew, why do you play like this? I feel kind of bad. Like it's if you're a kid and you're at another kid's house and you see that's one thing. But as an adult and why am I being judgmental of a child? That's kind of bad.
You're being judgmental of the parents. Do your job.
Yeah.
Do your job.
Yeah. You need to throw on this episode in the background. Hey, have you heard our new podcast? Just give a listen. And when it gets right to this part, man, just all
teach them
really?
Right.
Yeah.
And Paul, that sound of the Lego being stirred, the ASMR for you, that is like that's trauma for me because in my house that just means, all right, who's gonna clean this shit up? that means either my son or my daughter dumped the whole thing and then just took off somewhere, and someone's gonna
then decided to play with something else.
Yep.
No, or they were looking for. Yeah. They did find it. Now they're gone. Yeah.
Found it. Man, I love how Lego has evolved to these collector style sets for, our friend Fred does a lot of Lego builds on Twitch. There's a lot of the adult fans of Lego?
Yeah,
AFOLs that Fred always uses.
Yeah.
And they've really leaned into those kind of sets for, if you look at the new Star Wars stuff, there's dioramas, there's a Death Star trench run, and there's Luke in the elevator scene from Mando with the Dark Troopers.
Yeah.
And like there's moving parts and little play, like it's still kind of like the play patterns that you had as a kid, but they seem very much targeted to collectors like us, and it's crazy.
The licensed sets saved Lego because they were losing a ton of money because it was expensive. Nobody was buying it. And it wasn't until they started licensing these franchises that it really started taking off again. And then it's a really interesting story about that. I think it's on Netflix, the Toys That Built Us, that made us. Yeah, and they've got a whole Lego segment on it. So if you watch that, it's pretty cool. But they talk about how it was just like in decline. No one wanted to play with Lego anymore. And then they just started getting franchise licenses. And then it exploded for them. So I always love Lego just because of the precise nature of the quality control of the bricks. You can stack them and put them together and there are never any gaps because they fit perfectly because they're made perfectly. Mega Bloks, which is Canadian, is so frustrating to build because I remember we got the Halo set for the boys. They're heavy into Halo. And like you'd start building like the side of a ship, and because the pieces couldn't snap together, you get that little freaking, like, just that little gap, just the tiniest. And for one level, that's fine. But once you start stacking them and you just start to see the spread, it was so frustrating because you couldn't get the roof on properly. You had to really force it to snap them together. And once they're together, there's no way you can take them apart, or they just pop apart because of the stress that's on them. And that's just from poor quality control. Like the variances that they give to say, oh yeah, this piece is good enough, is way off, and which is why it's cheaper too than Lego. But
I held up my hand because I recall a lot of the skin that I lost on my fingers trying to separate some of those pieces, and they're pretty sharp and rough too.
Did you actually get them off?
Yeah, and then I had to wash my blood off of them.
Wow. Hey, Paul, cool side note.
Yep.
The creator of the Toys That Made Us was on our show last night on the post. Yeah, he's doing a new toy line. Yeah, really cool guy.
All right.
Yeah. And you know what? He had all of these vintage figures behind him.
Uh-huh.
And I did not ask him about him because I was so scared, because guess what was immediately behind him? All the Star Trek stuff.
Dude.
And I felt as soon as I said something, he was going to grab the Star Trek stuff, and I was going to be like, oh, I have no clue.
Man.
Like, to show it off.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Ernie, check this out. And oh, awesome. And I would have had no clue. Yeah.
Well, you got to
would have been exposed.
Yeah, exactly. Huh. This guy ain't a collector. He doesn't even know Star Trek. Sorry, guy. I just break the line somewhere.
On Adam Savage's YouTube channel, Tested, they have Norm, and he's got this guy. I think he's in charge of 3XO, or is that line QXO? They do 1/6 scale, but it's Star Trek stuff.
QMX?
That's it. No, not QMX. They do the badges. They do the badges.
No.
It's EXO something. I can't remember now. But it's really cool because they were having the discussion about in terms of the costuming, the fabric that they were using for the 1/6 scale. They have set accurate versus screen accurate, because of course there's that whole debate of, like Han Solo's jacket in Empire Strikes Back was actually brown, but on the screen it's blue. It looks blue. So you have set accurate, the brown, versus screen accurate, which is blue, right? And so they're actually doing that. They are offering both types that are out there. And I'm a big fan of the original Star Trek, the original series. And they had a 1/6 scale figure of Spock, and you had the set accurate versus the screen accurate, and it's like, wow, like such a difference between the two. And what was the point I was going to make with it? Even the type of fabric that they were using, right? So what I'm saying is, it's really cool that there are other franchises out there that are getting 1/6 scale sort of royal treatment to it. And I think I'm going to start branching off into that as well, just because they're cheaper than Hot Toys, but they look fantastic. And they have the whole you guys don't care because it's Star Trek. So I'm going to geek out over that because I saw the Wrath of Khan set with McCoy, Spock, and Kirk in the burgundy uniforms. And so that's my jam too.
I got to ask a question because I do know, though. How is Spock different? Wasn't he just blue?
Yeah, no, but it's a different shade of blue. So the set accurate was like a darker blue, and then under the light it became a lighter blue. So you have, it's like people with the AT-AT drivers, right? In reality, the helmets were like, was that white or gray, right? And so the one that I have from Manovos is gray, but it looks white under the screens, and it's like, no, it's not white. But some people are like, yeah, but that's how I remember it from the movies. So I feel better with an all white helmet instead of a set accurate gray helmet. So it's that. It's like, this is how I remember it.
Okay.
If you're dressing up as Han Solo in ESB and you got the brown jacket, people who know are like, yeah, you're into that deep cut stuff, right? Other people would be like, why is it brown? It's supposed to be blue, right? So.
From all these panels that we've looked at, Yoko and Ernie, you're the ones that are going to be physically there. Which ones are you most excited for? Or which ones will you actually be queuing up for or lining up for?
I mean, I'll enter every day and see, if I get in, I'll go check some out for sure. I don't think there's any where I'm going to be like super sad if I don't make it in, but I feel like with my experience with panels, because sometimes you just sometimes at cons, like you just go to watch a panel because you're tired and you need to sit somewhere. And sometimes those turn out to be like, like you learn something, or they turn out to be really interesting, or like, sometimes you're in a panel, you stick it through one panel because you want to get to the one after it, really, and but you never know, like you always learn something from the folks up there. So I feel like even if it's not something that seems super exciting, I bet it will be anyway.
So other than, because having never been to a celebration before, obviously the panels, it's like a regular con. There's going to be like a dealer's floor. There are going to be just people hanging out. Like, are they going to be like little side booths? Like, are people going to have their own booths there as well?
There's like the big license booths, the licensee partners.
Oh, right, because like Sideshow will be there.
Yeah, there'll be a Sideshow booth.
And then your room of vendors usually, and then like photo ops and stuff like that too, like the big displays.
The giant Rancor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the cool one. So it's like any other con, but it's, not
More
to get
Star
smart,
Wars.
it's all just Star Wars.
Right.
So people from selling, their artwork to the knit stuff to keychains to
There aren't as many artists though, because they're not
Everything.
like, because they have to invite their licensed artists, so you don't get a lot of the fan art kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That you would.
And I don't know if any of the tattoo people are going to be there this year.
Oh.
I haven't heard that either. That's where I got my very first tattoo.
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
My mythosaur.
Is that the wrong arm, or
it's just
you
that
pulled
the
up an
camera
arm and it was blank?
Camera don't show it, but my mythosaur skull. I actually got it hooked up from somebody there who was part of the toy industry that I let him know about a error on his figure. And I kind of saved his butt. Yeah, whatever, Kev.
Kev miming over here.
Show it.
Kev,
And
this
what
is
bugs
an audio. This is a podcast.
Yes.
People can't see what you're doing.
I held up my arm and I can't see it in the camera. I can't see either of my tattoos. And because I don't know which way the camera goes, it makes me really stupid. So I still can't even show it. I feel like I physically have to grab my camera and show my arm. Anyway, that's where I got it. It was a cool story because I let the dude know that they messed up on a figure. And he was like, yo, you saved my butt. And then he was like, oh, what are you doing? And I was like, dude, I wanted to get a tattoo, but they're all booked up. And then he walked me over there, signed me in with his friend, and I immediately sat down and got it. And I was like, oh, awesome. Dude, this is awesome. Yeah.
So it pays off to be a know-it-all and be like, actually, this is wrong. And then it's like, oh, free skipping the line for the tattoo. That's
was
awesome.
pretty big. It was the remember when Jax did those big figures of the Star Wars ones? Like you had Han Solo and Stormtrooper and everything like that. It went on for a while. There was a lot of figures. I had gotten an early release of the Han and Stormtrooper, and it was spelled wrong all the way around. It was H-A-H instead of H-A-N.
It's like the Chinese version of Han.
Yeah. And so I sent him a message right away because I followed him on Instagram. And I sent him a picture and he was like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, man, this is in my house. And so like, I proved to him where it was. And then he ran back and he's like, yeah, somehow I got an early version or something at the Toys R Us. And then he had it fixed. And so when he saw me there, he's like, dude, you saved my butt. And then he walked me over there and got me right in. And I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Nice.
Huh.
Yeah, they went back and fixed all the rest that were being done because they weren't like all mass produced yet.
Huh. That's kind of an unforgivable mistake too.
Yeah,
but like the number of people who had to have seen it and approved it for it to go to print.
Yeah, because it was the three sides. So you know how they just came with that big back, and then the front was at the bottom of their feet, and it wrapped around. That's all that held them. It was on the three sides. It was on the two sides of the legs, and then on the back. Yeah. H-A-H Solo in Stormtrooper disguise.
Ha. Solo.
Yep. Ha Solo.
That's not even an autocorrect, because why would it change it to ha?
Right. Yeah. I guess.
But I'm saying, like, and that got approved internally, then like Lucasfilm has to sign off on that, and they didn't catch that.
Yeah, I
before
believe
it
at the
gets
time he was
real.
working at Jax. It was Jax who put those out. Jax Pacific.
Right, but like when you make a toy, you don't just go and make whatever you want. It has to get approved by the licensor.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm saying like that includes packaging. So they would have seen it.
So that would definitely be like panels that we would go check out. I mean, we're at a point though when we're talking about what they have there at Celebration and everything, like we were saying, they have, it's all just Star Wars related and everything like that. Now comes a time, I think it's been so long. When are we going to have a Marvel Con? Because Marvel, I think, has surpassed. They've done their movies. Now they're on Disney Plus. Like Yoko totally does Moon Knight 30, which I totally wanted to jump in, Yoko, because that last episode was crazy,
So
amazing. I'm sure it touched a lot of people. It was like, wow, that's why I think we would need like a Marvel Con just to experience everything that's been building up, because
there
this
were
episode was great.
there were rumors. There were rumors before the world shut down that was in the works. So hopefully it's something that can come back.
Why
Right.
isn't there one?
Why
Marvel,
isn't there one?
Marvel Con. What do you think was preventing it, or they just hadn't gotten to that point yet in the
Fandom.
MCU? I mean, MCU's been around a decent amount
Now,
of time.
right. I heard the same thing too, like Yoko was saying. I mean, it's just that. I mean, I think it's time now.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be. I know everybody has their breakdown shows and everything like that, but I think it has come to the status of Star Wars. It really has.
Yeah.
Star Wars Celebration has been there because it's been started years ago. I mean, Star Wars Celebration was this little rinky-dinky thing back in the day, like when it first started, of just basically a bunch of nerds getting together, and they had it up, and it was kind of like to go with the Comic Cons and like that. But now it comes to a point where, we just did a whole big old segment on what we want to see at Celebration.
Yeah.
Marvel needs to get there at the same time to talk about different stuff that they're building up to. Everybody's excited for Multiverse of Madness and like that, but even leading up to that, we're still in Moon Knight. Though what the finale's next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after that last episode, where is it actually going to go? It
I
was
think
very sad.
I think part of the reason why we haven't gotten a Marvel Con yet is like with Star Wars, you had a set number of movies. And that was it, right? You had the original trilogy, then you had the prequel trilogy, and then the sequel trilogy, and everything was kind of built around that. And with the advent of Disney Plus and the first, I mean, how far have we gone so that televised Star Wars is now just such a you expect it, right? Like I remember when The Mandalorian first came out, it was like, this is the first live action Star Wars series, and it was a big deal, right?
That was huge.
And now it's just like, okay, what more. We've become so accustomed to it within like 3 years. With Marvel movies, I think because they keep, in a sense, they keep rolling it out. You think about it, it's like we're going to phase 4 of the MCU. And now they have how many shows that are coming out? Like it's a juggernaut. And I think absolutely right that there should be a con regarding this. But it's in terms of getting all the stars, all the leads, because you got the Evans and Hemsworth and Ruffalo and Robert Downey Jr. and everybody else. It's like they're all bona fide like movie stars now, right? So it's hard to sort of get them in. I mean, to get them to film that one scene at the end of Avengers Endgame, like that funeral scene was probably the most expensive scene ever shot, just because of the number of people who are in that.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you
the star
imagine
power.
trying to get them to a con? Like, what would their guarantee be? That's the thing. It would cost so much money to get them in there. And I think that might have been part of it. I think absolutely with the tie-ins of the new television series, that's great. It promotes the series. You get Oscar Isaacs in there. He's also in Star Wars too, right? So it's like you could get a twofer. How many of these actors have been in Star Wars and MCU movies, right? Like you could kind of do a twofer in that sense.
Ming-Na Wen.
Yes, Ming-Na, exactly. And so You know, I think in terms of the cons themselves, I think it's long past due. I just think the cost would be super prohibitive unless they got like
Yeah.
one or two. But then there's so many franchises as well, right? Because with Star Wars, it's Star Wars, OT,
Star Wars.
prequel, sequel.
Yeah.
Marvel, it's Thor, Spider-Man. I was gonna say Superman, Iron Man, right? You have all these different
Canceled.
subsets of that, right? It's really hard.
Paul
Yeah.
confirms Superman
Yeah.
joins MCU.
But well, also don't forget D23 Expo is also this year, and Marvel is a big part of that.
Yeah.
Do you go to that, Ernie? You must go to that.
I've never
You
never been
haven't?
to a D23.
Oh,
No, Corinne has, and I've missed them all.
really?
Either work
Well,
issues or they, it's sold
Yeah.
out very quickly.
I believe tickets are still available. It's this September. I will be there.
Oh, it's already put out. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
then yeah, maybe this is one I
And
definitely need to go
D23
to.
Expo there is dedicated time for Star Wars and for Marvel at that
Yeah.
show. So
Nice.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of fun. There's a
I
lot
mean,
of
just
stuff to buy at
going
that
on to
show.
what we're saying, that was a great point, Paul. As far as we want more in Star
Mhm.
Wars, and we didn't have it before, and it's. I've said this before, and I can't remember what show I've said it on before. It's kind of weird. We always ask what director did Star Wars, all the shows, right? Who's doing this episode? Who is this? Like, we weigh on it so much, and you never hear that about the Marvel shows. Who directed this episode? Who did this? Who did that? It's always just like, oh yeah, Marvel's on it. It's going good. And I'm at a point with all the Marvel shows. Is one gonna bomb? Do you think? Because I thought they've all been great, and I kind of feel like they keep surpassing each other. Where the Star Wars ones are giving us just more content, more to our story, and we're enjoying it and liking it, and it's opening up a new world. When the Marvel ones are not doing a movie but building off into the phases still, and they've been really good. Like I didn't feel like WandaVision was a dud or Falcon Winter Soldier. I thought they were all good. And now Moon Knight, I don't know. You feel otherwise, Yoko?
No, I just because I'm doing my phase 4 rewatch, and like rewatching WandaVision was like just as like thrilling as it was the first time.
Yeah.
Watching it.
The
yeah.
ideas that they went to and the different stuff that they
special.
did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then but that's what happened with Moon Knight too. Everybody's like, what's going on? What happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get into the psyche of this episode and it was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Of
the last
whole
2 episodes are like episode and a half, maybe not even a half, like just amazing, right? It's like it's different from anything else we've seen. It's so powerful.
right.
Without no spoilers.
Yeah, I don't want to either. Like you do have to go watch it.
I mean,
So good.
I cried so many times during that episode.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's been
just-
great.
Yeah.
They surpassed. But then
Yeah.
okay, talking about crying in an episode and surpassing, the last homework was Ghostbusters Afterlife. Same thing. They do a whole movie all this time later, and it makes everybody bawl their eyes out.
Ernie, you are a ninja when it comes to the smooth ass transition. To keep up that doc, I cannot believe how silky smooth that was. The way you just slipped it right in there.
Like, oh, we're done with Marvel now. We're going right into Ghostbusters.
It would have been like a smooth, no cut transition, but then now I gotta take your comment out, Paul. No, I'm kidding. No, it's crazy smooth.
No,
crazy
Thank
smooth.
you.
Got to give him his due.
Mine's always
Ghostbusters
working.
Afterlife was the homework assignment because Kevin, you had just recently watched Ghostbusters, and what I wanted to know was Ghostbusters Afterlife something that I really connected with and enjoyed and loved because of the nostalgia factor that plays into it? Because there are certain movies, and we talked about this before. If you grew up with them, they were part of your core memory. They were part of your history growing up, so you connect with them. If you didn't watch that movie at the time, like with Gremlins, you did not enjoy Gremlins as much because you were kind of like, meh. Yoko, I think you kind of felt the same way. You watched it, but you wouldn't watch. It's not like you were itching to watch it again and went, oh my god, these made indelible marks on my
But I
soul.
want Gizmo, to be clear.
And we talked about the toys too, like
Yeah.
whether the movie made you want to get the toys for
Yeah.
it and whatnot. But the question that I pose, because I'm guilty of the same thing too. I grew up having never watched Grease, for example, or we were talking about Dirty Dancing. And all of my friends of that age who saw Dirty Dancing grew up with it and just absolutely adored it. I saw it as an adult and I was like, yeah, okay. Didn't get it, but sure. So I'm wondering, the question was, after watching Ghostbusters Afterlife, is it a good movie? Or is it banking too much on that nostalgia feel for the fan base to sort of go, oh my God, this is my childhood again? Does it hold up on its own as an enjoyable movie with a new cast, but they bring back the older cast? What did you think? Did you enjoy the movie? Yes or no? Your mic is off. He's a professional YouTuber.
He is.
Hey, I'm gonna edit it and I'm gonna sound so smooth. Okay, no one's even gonna notice. I enjoyed the hell out of the movie, and after our last week's episode talking about really looking at, is it a good movie or is it nostalgia? I wanted to get the full kind of experience, and I also watched Ghostbusters Answer the Call, which I know I've heard there's flack for that movie, criticisms, and I wanted to go in fresh as somebody who recently, kind of brushed up on that universe. So I watched that, and Yoko hasn't seen it yet, so I'm not going to get specific, but that movie was enjoyable.
I feel like you just had to get that in there.
Well, yeah, because it's setting.
Like that's not even what we're talking about. It's not even the movie that we're supposed to be discussing. And you had to like take a detour to mention that.
For the purposes of editing, so that we can bring up Ghostbusters Afterlife later, it's storytelling. I'm setting up that plot point later on.
No,
So
you're
okay,
just
it'll be there.
trying to make yourself pop yourself up here a little bit. I see what you're doing. It's all right.
So I watched that movie first. Yoko doesn't support women and hasn't seen that movie yet.
Wow.
Confirmed.
To be clear, I
then-
don't support comedies.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, so I watched that, and I think it's still good. And Paul, you mentioned to us, it's like it's a different universe. It's like an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
So it's on its own, I thought it was a fun watch. And I think if you were to make like a modern day Ghostbusters like Afterlife, it's like, do you want to lean heavily on nostalgia or do you want to create something different? And it seems like now that I'm watching it in order, they've tried two different options to see what works. And I don't think the nostalgia factor in Afterlife was that heavy. There are little clips there that refer to like the old Ghostbusters commercial that they had on TV. The granddaughter was watching those, so it sets up those characters. If you've never seen Ghostbusters like me from 2 weeks ago and you watched Afterlife, you would be like, who are these old guys coming in to save the day? And you don't want the main arc of the story to be they get saved by some characters that are beloved from decades ago. Like they kind of helped, but they weren't the main savior at that final scene. So I think there's a good balance in that movie. And I still, they see the ghost of a father. What was the mom's name? Kate? Egon's daughter? I don't remember her name, but she sees the ghost of a father who she
Her
never
grandfather,
got
yeah.
to.
Egon. It's Egon. She saw it. It's Egon. Phoebe is Egon's granddaughter.
Right. But the mom never, like, she was bitter
Correct.
because she
Yes.
thought he left and didn't care about them at all. And
Right.
finally she realizes all this and sees his ghost. That's touching to see, whether it's a character that you're familiar with or not, to see all that stuff. So I think it was a very good balance. I thought the acting with the kids, like Podcast and Phoebe, they were fantastic, man. They were
Podcast is freaking great. Oh my god, I love Podcast so much, dude. He kind of stole the movie for me. I think they all did. Here was the thing for me with it. I love the point that you made that it was still a great movie to watch. When I listened to the show last week, you guys made some great points of the nostalgia reason. Well, yeah, of course you have to like it. That's where always me and Paul are, because I guess, yeah, we grew up with it. So to hear you say that you enjoyed it more is even more so. And I had to look at it differently. I did like the storyline because we weren't just bringing up Ghostbusters again. I'm with Kevin. I like the family aspect of it.
Mhm.
Here was the mom who felt a certain way about her dad. The grandkids didn't know, but yet that whole family bloodline still rolls in. And here's a granddaughter acting like him still. Like I can get that. That was cool. And then to bring in other characters that act like each one of the Ghostbusters was awesome too. But they were still their own unique character. But you can kind of play it like, oh, okay, I get it. You know, more of a Venkman, more of a Ray. You know, I took podcast to be like Ray. And then when you see it at the end and they do connect, I like that. So it wasn't just a whole, you know, we're back 20 years later. It did have a good story. I thought so. I thought the story was great to play on everything and still make new characters. Like, I would love for it to continue. I would want another one. Did you like it that much that you, either one of you, would you want another one? Like, yeah, I think they should do another one, or it doesn't
They
matter.
are doing another one.
They just greenlit a fifth one.
They did?
Nice.
I didn't know that.
There are no details, but I know, because it could be an animated one that's coming up as well.
Okay.
Right. So there are no details about it though. But yeah, it just got announced 2 days ago that they greenlit a fifth Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, perfect
I
timing.
thought they
Just for us.
specifically said a sequel to this one. I thought.
Well, then there you go. That's perfect.
I
'Cause
thought they did. Yeah.
I know there's an animated one that's on its way.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So that's really cool. With regards to the nostalgia, because that is one of the biggest criticisms I've heard against the movie, was the fact that it's just playing on nostalgia. Now, you know, people are going to have an axe to grind no matter what. You're always going to find somebody who doesn't like it and will pull out, oh, it's just nostalgia. All they did was play on these old themes from the old movies and this and that and blah, blah. And it's like, well, yeah, that's the point. Right? You're wanting to play on those feelings, but it's not pandering if you do it right. And I think this movie absolutely hit that balance of, first of all, keeping it within the world so it felt right. When you hear the proton pack, when you see the Ecto-1, when you see the ghosts, they're very, very familiar. And the irony of knowing that she's got a trap and it's a real trap and doesn't realize what it is. And Paul Rudd's character, my God, I loved him. He made me laugh so hard in that movie. From just that scene where he's in Walmart, just walking around like a douchebag. I was dying because he's like, doo, doo, doo. And it's like, yeah, that's like, of course, that's the science teacher, right? But, you know, the irony of the audience saying, oh my God, she's got a ghost trap. She doesn't know what it is. And having all those feels of, and like seeing the replay of like on YouTube as well, of the news reports. Like, I got teary-eyed watching it because it was like, oh, there's the gang. And then having the story go in a different direction where they're all pissed off. Everyone's pissed off at Egon. Ray's mad at him. Winston's mad because he took all their stuff. So I just really, really enjoyed that in terms of world building. And I keep using this phrase, the world building, but the nostalgia is absolutely something that Jason Reitman used in his arsenal of storytelling, because it is that continuation, that generational jump. And I loved Phoebe. I thought that actress is going to go she was like, how old? She's like 12 or 13 in that movie. And she's got those kind of chops. I'm super jealous, and she carried it off. And then to have the old gang come back in, because you can't have a Ghostbusters movie that is in that world and not have them show up. But what I did love was it wasn't about them. You know, they kind of hit that balance perfect, where I think Star Wars kind of, for the sequels, where, you know, you can't have a Star Wars without Luke, Leia, and Han in it and just want it to be about them.
Right.
They tried that, and they brought them in at different points, but the balance just didn't seem right. Whereas for Ghostbusters Afterlife, I thought it was perfect, because they show up just kind of in the nick of time to help out, not to win the day, but help them win the day. And I love that. I love that. And then when Egon shows up as a ghost, I was done. I was like Niagara Falls. It was like, and he's holding her. It was just like, oh, all the feels came rushing out. So I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it in that way.
Well,
And it
there's
wasn't-
there are indicators of how I enjoyed the movie. I would probably go buy some toys. First of all, I'm kind of on the radar what kind of stuff I should buy. So that's the first one. Secondly, when I message you while I'm watching it, like there's something going on that's clicking with me that I'm
Yeah.
like, I have to talk to somebody about this right now.
Yeah.
Point of which Paul Rudd explaining to the kids, you don't know Ghostbusters from 1984? It's like, that's you, Paul, and I'm either a podcast or Phoebe. Like, I'm like, holy crap, there's a parallel right there.
Yeah.
But if the experiment here was to see whether I still enjoy the movie or if the movie is good without being a lifelong fan, we have that part discussed. But I want to flip it back to you, Paul. When you sorry, let me bring it back a second. What they continue the story, like you said, it's the same world. It's Gozer again.
Mhm.
And when you hear stuff like, oh, the building that was in New York was made with metals that was mined here in this town.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's a nice, interesting way to tie it back. But for you, was that just like, oh my God, dude,
Yes.
like, it's bringing it together?
That's all deep
like,
cut
what was it like
stuff.
for you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's all deep cut stuff. And as a fan, I appreciate that because it's expanding upon the world. It's not just retreading everything. They're bringing back Gozer. They're bringing back all these things that they discussed and gave it sort of like it's a beautiful prequel sequel in that sense, right? Where they did use elements from the earlier movies and just sort of filled in the blanks a bit more and just sort of expanded on that mythology. And so, yeah, I totally appreciated that. Like I did. And then like the little mini puffed marshmallow man as well. Like that callback, I absolutely adored. The fact that Slimer came back, but then there was another one that came, the blue ghost that was eating all the
Muncher.
metal and stuff. Yeah. Just for me, it was great because it wasn't just playing the same notes over and over and over again. It was really sort of expanding and building on that mythology. And
Wait. Slimer wasn't in Afterlife.
No,
wasn't he?
no.
No, because that was one of my questions I wanted to ask. Like, where was Slimer? Like, why wouldn't they bring back Slimer?
I
That's-
thought he.
That's why they had Muncher.
They had
Isn't there a
Muncher.
cutscene at
Slimer,
You're thinking something else, Paul.
I mean, you know what I'm thinking of?
I
Thinking
know.
of
Answer the call.
Answer the Call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Answer the Call, where he steals
Drives.
their. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Huh. Wow. I gotta. To be honest, I've only seen Afterlife once, and that was in the movie theaters. I haven't had time to watch it again.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I've seen it like 5-6 times.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I want to as well. I want to as well.
Am I
So
the
that's
only one
why.
doing the homework?
Because
or-
He is.
no, because
I redo all the homework. I'm that much of a nerd.
that was my big thing from after like watching after. So I would consider myself a casual Ghostbusters fan. Like I
Mhm.
am enough of a fan that I do have a few Ghostbusters things in my collection somewhere. But like I actually felt like they could have leaned into the nostalgia a little bit more. I wouldn't have minded a little bit more of them, like
Oh,
them showing
really?
up a little bit earlier or something. Yeah. And then, but my big thing was like, where the heck was Slimer?
Huh.
Even just to see, just a glimpse
Wow.
somewhere at the end or something, like, I don't know.
I agree with you. I did the same thing, but then when I saw Muncher, I
Yeah.
kind of took that.
Yeah.
I think that is awesome to hear, though, where you being a casual one, you're like, I could have taken more.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
felt, man, there was a lot in there of being a longtime fan, too. Like, there's a lot of little things, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Ray's
yeah.
shop, the sayings, the Bible verses that were there, and like there's a lot, I think of it this way: when people break down trailers for so long, like we did with Obi-Wan, right? A
Yeah.
whole freaking just teaser, and we broke it down. The same thing was going on with Ghostbusters, because then his name was plastered on that entrance gate
Yeah.
of and I can't remember right now.
Ivor Shandor.
Shandor, right? So I always say it wrong. So that immediately, when you saw it in the trailer, was like, oh my god, and it's yeah. So I think that's awesome for you to mention. Like I would have liked to see more.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's cool. Then I really feel like then they did their job, because then it's hit like all four of us, which makes it amazing to me
Yeah.
to say now.
My other thing, though, like you reminded me talking about the little mini Stay Puffs, which are adorable. But like, I get why they did, because I think they were trying to get people to go back to the movie theaters, right, after COVID and everything, and people weren't going to the movies. So I feel like maybe they gave away more than they might have normally. Because I'm like, how fun would it have been for those little Stay Puffs to be a surprise when you're watching it, right? But
Yeah.
I wish they hadn't revealed that in the trailer, personally.
Well, here's a deep cut thing I just realized too about the proton packs that as a fan from way back when I super appreciate. So in the original Ghostbusters, the first time they go to the Sedgwick Hotel and they're all in the elevator, and that they've got that great scene where it's like, it just occurred to me we haven't fully tested these packs. And Venkman says, "What's there to worry about? Each of us is only carrying an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on their backs." He's like, "Yeah, well, there's nothing to switch me on." And he reaches over and flicks on the power, the proton pack, and you get the iconic like startup noise, and the thrumming sounds like, oh. Now, the proton packs on the backs of them, there is no switch. There's no switch. Traditionally, it's been on the wand, on the thrower, where you switch, and that's how my pack is built. That you activate it through the wand. So there was that whole question of, well, where on the proton pack is there a switch? Because there has to be one, and they've never ever referenced it again until Afterlife, and they actually found a spot based on the approximate. They guesstimated where where
He was
Egon went
reaching?
and flipped on the pack, and it's underneath the ion arm. So for the HasLab, if you look at the HasLab, they've actually added a switch there. And so that's something that I really, as a fan, kind of go, yes, of course, because there has to be a switch there. And so now there you go. And that is a really deep cut as a Ghostbusters fan and I got like 3 proton packs. The fact that they built that in, I love. Right? It's that deep, nerdy, geeky thing
Man.
that a lot of people would overlook.
That's beautiful. Yeah, and I think that kind of relates to a lot of properties we know now. The people who grew up as fans with this stuff are now working in jobs and positions where they're making movies or they're making toys and any other memorabilia where they're like, I wish I had this, or this hasn't been. So in the right hands, we're going to get really fantastic stuff for, deep cuts like you're mentioning that people will really appreciate. So I think that's truly beautiful.
The geeks have inherited the earth.
Yes, exactly.
Finally.
Ernie's been waiting a long time.
So long.
He's like,
Third
finally.
grade. God.
I like the trap, the remote control trap. That thing's awesome.
That was sick. To see more of the Ep007 was cool too.
Oh.
The whole drop down of that in there. For me, the gunner seat coming out, that was a toy.
Mm-hmm.
That was a toy that we all had that, it did this, and then you show it in there. That was they brought all the worlds together.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about it.
And was it J. Jonah Jameson as Ivo? The actor?
That's what I heard.
I think so.
Yeah. And then he was in there for like 3 seconds and they ripped him open like a bag of chips.
I think that was him, which was like, oh my God, okay. And then the one who played Zool, I don't think she got credited, and I think that was a big name.
No, it was
Are you talking about Olivia Wilde?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who played Gozer?
Gozer, yeah. Because I remember watching her.
Gozer.
I remember being like, God, Gozer looks like Olivia Wilde, but I didn't think she was in the movies. I was like, it really looks like Olivia Wilde, and then I Googled it and it really was her.
Yeah. And that's the other cool thing too, like decking her out to look like Gozer from the 84 with the hair and the makeup and the suit with the bubbles on it.
Yeah, no, she was
really
perfect.
Awesome. And the Terror Dogs. The callback to the Terror Dogs.
Yeah.
I love, right? So and the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper, like Paul Rudd and Phoebe's mom.
Which he still played great.
Yeah.
When he did that too. It was great.
I think a huge part of avoiding too much nostalgia was they had the movie and then all the scenes that made you feel feel stuff where, like in the cutscenes where all the old characters were interacting with each other. I'm like, okay, this is where I'm getting that little hint there in the post credits. I thought that was a good move.
Sorry.
Episode title: Read a book.
Reading
Yeah.
PSA.
I can't do that homework in a week though, so I think we should still stick to our movie thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still working on Dune. Jeez.
Oh, I have not read that one.
It's hard.
I have like four books going at the same time, I think.
Oh, well, maybe that's your problem. One at a time, man. I started
Yeah.
Dark Disciple. I wanted to finish Dark Disciple here in the next week or so. The one with about Ventress.
Okay,
I
so I
thought
want to act.
It could be Kenobi related. That's all. Sorry. Sorry to bore you with my book talk, Kevin. Go ahead, take the floor.
Now you know how I feel when I start talking about Star Trek.
Yeah, I guess.
Shunned topics. Star Trek. Books. Books. Very broad.
Shunned topic.
But now I'm looking at Ghostbusters merch now. I'm looking at it now with a little bit more of a different lens.
Did you
different
back the
filter.
HasLab? The Proton Pack?
No,
You didn't get 5 of those, Kevin? Why not?
my wife doesn't need one.
Yeah, I'm really butthurt I didn't get a proton pack. I wanted one.
You probably
Yeah.
get one in the aftermarket for thousands of dollars.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Because it's even worse because there's not a lot of Ghostbusters merch out there. So that is gonna I continually said it on my show. This is your chance to get one. I didn't though. I got Galactus. So
You made your choice.
Yeah.
I know.
Paul,
it was
the
my fault.
HasLab has swappable parts that are for Afterlife. Is that correct?
No,
Marshmallow-y parts.
that's the thing. That's what I thought. Like I just looked at the unlockables, the different stretch goals they have, and it's like one of them is like you can put marshmallow goop on it, right? Now the first backers, like within the first 48 hours, got like the slime that you could put on it. There is a booklet out, which is great, and then there's a stand. But in terms of converting it, I know there are mounting points for it is modular. There are mounting points for an actual Alice pack frame. So if you don't want to use the straps that it comes with, you can make it more screen accurate by putting it on a military Alice frame. In terms of all the little greeblies and stuff, I'm not sure if you can take those off and remake it into into a GB1 or GB2 pack. It's got the GB1 cable, but it's like intertwined with the modified cables. I know in terms of the throwers, if you have, I don't know if it's compatible with the old Natty thrower or not. You actually have to have the other the Egon's Proton Wand that came out earlier on. That it will be compatible with. Oh, that's it. It had a hose connector, so you could connect that proton that wand with the pack.
Oh,
But
nice.
they're separate functionality, so it's not like you can control stuff through the wand and have the pack play with it, right? They're separate for now.
Yeah.
And were there any stretch goals that they didn't get to?
No, everything got unlocked.
Oh, that's awesome.
Real fast.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, within the it was insane how fast it went.
Right.
Even without you, Ernie.
Well,
I know.
the price point alone for what you were getting
Yeah.
and for the price was that's incredible value. I built a proton pack. I've modified proton packs, and that pack, that fiberglass pack with the aluminum parts on it, and the metal thrower and the electronics and the speaker and everything, kind of like it's the cost of a small car. To be honest, that pack cost me a couple thousand. Sorry, Anna. Well, this is years ago. It was like I sunk maybe $4,000 into it. To be
It
honest,
doesn't matter now. It's already money
Yeah.
spent, right, Yoko?
it's money spent.
It's
That
money
money's
spent.
gone.
That's right.
But it's like it's the price of a small car. It's heavy though, and it's better than the packs that they used in 1984, right? But so that's why, like, to see something like what Hasbro came up with, it's lightweight, it's got lights and sound, it looks great, for $400. That's a steal. That's why I got 2 of them.
Keep pouring it
One
on.
Dana.
No, I'm all. That's
Well, I think
awesome. That is cool. So, like, are you looking for figures, Kev? Like, is it done that much? Like, because I mean, the Hasbro ones came out.
The plasma.
I have the Diamond Select ones. I
Mhm.
didn't get the building set though.
Oh, that would have been sweet. That's a nice diorama.
Marco, oh my God, Darth Moocher, he has it.
Right?
He chased them all down and ordered and everything. Again, a whole nother reason why I miss our Toys R Us. We can't find those diamond ones no more. The
Diamond
Toys R
Select
Us
one?
was the ones to hold with the big pieces.
Oh yeah.
Then like Walgreens is the closest to get just the box Diamond Select now. But yeah, that rooftop diorama is amazing. That was a great set by Diamond Select. I mean, because you that's your scene right there,
Mhm.
And they came out with them, and then the Terror Dogs, and then they even went into some of the ghosts and like that. So yeah, it's
dope.
amazing.
So your
It's
homework
amazing.
assignment.
Is anyone going to do any homework?
Yeah, Yoko's gonna watch Answer the Call.
Not this week. I'm not.
Sure, she is.
I'm going to Disneyland.
Just to prove
Maybe
you're on.
Okay, so no homework for next week because Yoko and Ernie will be at May the 4th something Star Wars Day at Disney. And
Star Wars.
Yoko will be watching Multiverse of Madness, so there's no time for homework.
no.
And
Purely Phase 4 rewatch. I'm still on Falcon and Winter Soldier. I got a lot to do.
Yoko, why don't you send the good people off with a nice, lovely message?
I would love to, Kev. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks to everybody listening and watching on the platform of your choice. We really appreciate it. The feedback, the likes, the follows, the subscribes. We do this for you. Thanks for being there for us. Have a great night.
Yes, very nice.
Yeah.
Nailed it.